two, there's already no you.
alreadynottwo.com.
Hello everyone.
Hello everyone.
Thanks everyone for joining this so-called meeting on this Friday. For those maybe who are new to Already Not Two, this is really a very utterly simple sharing. It's a pointing to all there is. All there is what is and isn't. It's that simple. All there is an appearance. That's really just what is being talked here or is being shared here in this so-called meeting, if you like. There's nothing else. There's just what's appearing. And the other thing that maybe is being talked about today is that seeking for what is utterly and wonderfully futile, because there's nothing lost, there's nothing to find, just this is it as it is. That's really all that is being talked about here today. And I'm a bit excited since it's a shared meeting, as you can see probably with the one who seems very enlightened because of the sunlight is coming in. So.
No, Nico, I was enlightened.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. There's going to be a live meeting as well. So it's almost like a preview of a live meeting, one could say. Tim, it's yours.
Well, just thank you for inviting me. And thank you for inviting me to come to Berlin for the weekend. And so I'm excited about that. I might regale you with tales of my last visit to Berlin, which was to see Gangaji. That might amuse some of you. I'm pretty sure it would. That was my last trip to Berlin. So this could be a bit different, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks, Nico, for inviting me and to this evening and for the weekend in Berlin.
With pleasure and love, looking forward to it.
I know. I've got so many bromances going on. It's ridiculous. There's all these middle-aged or older heterosexual men all saying they love each other all the time. It can be a bit disconcerting. It's taken me a bit of getting used to, I have to say. But seems like I've almost got over it. When you've had a lifetime of not saying I love you to men, because men in my youth never said they loved each other. So, that's liberating in itself, because of course men do love each other, but they're often afraid to say it.
Yeah.
Mostly. I could say that non-duality is the end of the fear of love. Self is always afraid of love. Could maybe talk a bit about that today.
Well, mostly.
There's nothing to fear from love, but there is for me, because I'm always trying to defend myself from love, and love couldn't give a shit because love doesn't recognize you. And that's maybe not the love that we're used to.
Yeah.
An unconditional love, rather than the normal love that most people talk about, which is utterly conditional.
I would say that when it comes down to personal love, love, there's nothing right or wrong with that. But what seems to happen within the dreamt reality is that what we call personal love is just a need that seems to appear.
So Nico said there's nothing to get. Because, well, there are things to get, but all things to get are all imaginary. You don't actually acquire anything.
Yeah.
There's actually no acquisition. There's no achievement. There's no enlightenment. There's no awakening. There's no liberation. This is all of that. And there simply isn't anything else. So there can be disappointment. This isn't what most seekers are looking for. I was going to say all seekers, but maybe there are a few weirdos who are seeking nothing to get nothing. But there aren't many people seeking nothing. And of course, seeking nothing is even more futile than seeking something. At least with something, you can be under the illusion.
Recording in progress.
Oh, missed all those powers of wisdom.
Yeah, there was a recording, but it was different. But I just realized that, some technical...
Is there a delay on it?
No, there was some... I record in a different way normally, technically, but I'm going to record here as well. Yeah. So there might be those wise words will be included.
And I'd like to think, to tell you them again, but I haven't got a clue what I just said.
Yeah, I get that.
One thing I'd like to emphasize that when I was a seeker, and I was compulsive, obsessive, an addict.
Yeah.
I watched so many YouTube videos that my wife at the time called me a non-duality porn addict. And wanted me to get therapy for that.
Oh, wow.
And, she said, "What are you looking at 1 a.m.?" And I showed her that Tony Parsons' face on the screen. And she said, "You're such a pervert." And of course, she wasn't wrong. Well, what am I doing? Looking at old men talking about nothing into the early hours of the morning. It's insane. Yeah. It really is. But that's probably familiar to most of you, that kind of. I'll just watch one more. I'm sick of it, but I'll still watch one more.
Yeah.
How many times have you said, right, that's the last video. That's the last, I'm not buying another book. I've got shitloads of books and I've never finished one of them, all on non-duality. They're all the same.
Mm.
They're all saying it's pointless, and I keep buying them. And watching. But I mean, the best I can say, there isn't any, I don't feel there's anything going to happen, because absolutely there isn't anything going to happen. So the notion that there could be a shift, the notion that there could be, that anything is going to happen is nothing but fantasy. There is only what's happening. There isn't anything going to happen. The only thing that's going to happen is you imagining what's going to happen. And that's what's happening. The thought, the imagination of what's going to happen. It's no different to what has happened. What has happened is, we call them memories, but they're just thoughts of what seems to have happened. It's funny that we categorize memory as something different to thought. It's not. So you're just left with what's happening. What's happening is the only thing that's real. But what's happening isn't a thing.
It's this.
And this isn't a thing.
Yeah. It's just this.
Yeah, I'm getting, Nico will get this as well. Get criticized for talking about this as though we're talking about something, but we're not talking about something. We're talking about everything and nothing. And that doesn't mean that nothing is something, and it doesn't mean that everything is something, and it doesn't mean that they're the same something. It's just a way of saying we don't know what this is.
Yeah, it even doesn't mean anything.
No. So I'm sure Nico finds that people say, well, what do you mean by this? And I can have a go at what I mean by this, which I mean it's all there is. But it sounds like, I get the criticism, and I kind of accept the criticism. If you speak about this, you have to accept the criticism, because this doesn't make sense. You won't make sense of this. This isn't rational or logical.
Yeah. And yet it's just extremely ordinary.
Is that my signal that's...
Yeah, it was frozen, I saw. I guess. So it seems like Tim is frozen at the moment, or at least the image is, which is what is as well. So if there are any questions, feel free to ask them.
NotTwo.
So what is meant by it's just this? what is and isn't. It's just what seems to happen. It's just this. There's nothing else. This is totality. Sitting on a seat. Sounds, computer screen, thoughts maybe appear. Maybe some feeling of comfort or some feeling of discomfort. Whatever that seems to happen. So this sharing is utterly simple. It's constantly overlooked, it seems. So it's just this. There you are.
It's lucky that we're a team today, because if it's just my internet went down.
Oh yeah. So I can fill in the blanks at him.
You'll do well to do that.
I was just saying that how simple what is meant by this is it, or this is what is and isn't, or whatsoever. Just what seems to appear.
Yeah, I mean, it is. On the one hand, I often call it too simple, but that's I can contradict myself on everything I ever say about this, because it's too simple, but it's also utterly paradoxical. And by that, I mean that it can't be made sense of. So simplicity sounds like, well, I can easily make sense of this.
Yeah.
No, there's no possibility of making sense of this. There is no, the freedom is, for no reason, it can just stop. By it, I mean the conviction that I might understand what the fuck they're all talking about.
Yeah. And just seek, it's a complete paradox in a sense, because seeking for freedom is just furthering the misunderstanding in a way.
Yeah.
It's a you who is separate from it.
Yeah. And yeah, of course, that's the freedom too. There's no exception.
Yeah.
So I see people who are really struggling with the pain of seeking, still getting the highs when they think they've got an insight. You know how thrilled you've been when you got a flash of insight. Well, there's almost nothing worse than that shit, because all that does is feel, oh shit, I am getting somewhere. Look, I've made a big stride towards whatever you fantasize you could go towards, and there's no towards. There's no, this can't be approached. If you want a rational explanation of why this can't be approached, is because there's no one to approach it. There's nothing outside of this that could approach this. And to approach this, it would have to be somewhere else, wouldn't it? It would have to be in another place. Well, there isn't another place. There's just this placeless place that is all places and no place. So you can go ahead and try and make sense of that.
And yet it seems constantly overlooked.
Well, it can't not be overlooked, I would say, because you can't see it. So, I mean, I forgive everyone who's overlooking.
It's very kind of you, Tim.
That can be great. There's nothing but compassion for every human being who overlooks this, because they think it's overlooked because there can only be the sense of, oh, I could see it.
Mm-hmm. And yet it's all that is seen as well.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I used to go and see Tony all the time.
At 1 p.m.
Yeah, as well as the early hours. I used to go to London every month. And one of his favorite phrases was, okay, if you, this is his open secret that he talked about a lot, you know, that was his most famous book, really. The message is the open secret, as Tony speaks about it. And he said, well, the open secret is that if you really wanted to hide, where would be the best place to hide? Everywhere. everywhere. So the secret is you can't not find this. And then, of course, it can't be found. It's always found. It can't not be found. So the looking for it is the seeming overlooking, but of course it's not. You're looking directly at it. And then I'll contradict myself and say, of course, you're not looking at it. There is just it. One of the wonderful things about speaking about this is there's no possibility of saying it how it should be said accurately. There's no, if you've been listening to lots of different speakers and you're waiting until you find the one, like I was, the one with the greatest clarity, or the one you resonate with most. I was obsessed with this idea that there must be someone who is, that once I hear them speak of this, that will be it. But of course, that's just another story of hope. This is utterly hopeless. But not hopeless in the way that self thinks of hopeless. It just doesn't, there is no hope. Because there's nothing to come. Hope is all about dreams of the future. And self doesn't like any idea that there isn't a future. Because I need to improve. This isn't good enough. I'm not good enough. I need the future in order to be able to fulfill myself, my dreams, to complete myself, to find what I'm looking for. And so to self, this, even though it might sound attractive to a few, like us, to most human beings, they don't, this doesn't even register. It's completely, because self says, what's in it for me? And the speaker says nothing. And they go, okay, you crazy fucker. Why are you even speaking about it? And then, and then the speaker might come out with more crazy stuff about unconditional love and the peace that passes all understanding. And they'll go, what? What the hell are you talking about? So I've stopped talking to people in the street or in the supermarket or at the pub about this. And I confine speaking about this just to just to those. And I'd recommend you do the same. Just for your own physical well-being, so that you don't get punched in the face. There aren't many selves who like to hear that they're non-existent. They don't take kindly to that. They don't see it as a compliment, even if you mean it as one. Sorry, Nico, you have to stop me because I'll talk the whole time.
It's an easy job, Tim. If it's getting too much, I have something.
Oh, no. What for? What, you just cut me off?
NotTwo.
Hi, Nico. Hi, Tim.
Hi,
Hey,
Kevin.
Kevin, good to see you.
You too. I bumped into you, Tim, at a Tony weekend at PAX
Yeah, I remember.
last year, and it was a delight to see you and to meet you. Although recently there's some doubt. Whenever I think about events from the past, some doubt arises. Really? There's a kind of unreality.
Yeah.
Which is not a negative. last night I caught up. Excuse me, I caught up with some old friends, 5 people. We're just catching up with each other, and each of them mentioned how well things are going, and then segued into the struggles they're having. Some along the lines of struggling with spiritual type things, or character flaws, whatever.
Yeah.
I couldn't help but to think that as long as there's things going well for me, then there has to be struggles too. It seemed like it was one and the same. So like,
It is one of the same.
good for them that things are going well. I mean, it's good that things are going well, but it just struck me that there has to be a struggle as long as the me is continuing to see things as happening in terms of the me.
Yeah. Depends what you mean. Yeah, so struggles. There is a great myth, though. I like to dispel some myths if I can. No, I don't know how it is for any other human being, and neither do you, and nor can you. We can only listen to them, and they can try and tell us. But there are myths that enlightenment, awakening, liberation is a state. It's a state of being, a completely different state of being. And I don't see it that way at all. There is only being. So being is all states. And whether there's a sense of being me, or or the absence of a sense of being me, which won't be recognized. There's nothing to see. There's no more a no me than there is a me. And anything can appear. So the whole notion that the struggle would end without me, the sense that things are going well wouldn't appear without me. I'm just replying, this is to Kevin, that the notion that in conversation with another human being, if there was no sense of life was happening to you, there couldn't be the words come out, oh yeah, things are going well. Or the words come out, oh no, I'm actually really struggling with this. There's been a lot of grief lately. I feel this sorrow, or anything can appear. So there feels a real compassion to dispel the myth that you could be free from the things that you want to be free from. This is not a freedom from anything. This is freedom for everything to just appear as it appears. Now, that is how it is already. That's nothing new. So there isn't, okay, it's not like that at the moment, but it could be. No, there is no could be. I don't know what Nico thinks, but all I want to say is that there's absolutely no difference between life happening to me and my life, and life not happening to me and not my life. Everything is just as it is. So you get this, I end up saying shit like, when people ask me, so how is it different? I went, well, it's no different at all. And then I went, oh no, it's completely different though. And they go, well, which is it? Which is it? Oh, well, it is just how it is, and it always was just how it is, and it will be just how it is. It is only how it is. That's the same, and yet there is a no difference that's completely different. That it's not happening to me.
Yeah, I would say that.
Don't know what you would say, Nico.
Well, I would say that life is already not happening to you. That life is happening to you is already an illusion in itself, so to speak. And often what seems to happen is that the expectation for the individual, when it hears about liberation or enlightenment or whatever you want to call it, is that something new will come in, something magically, something new will happen. Mm-hmm. Nothing new comes in.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a question in the chat as well. What is anything at all? I can be pretty short to that question, because what we're talking about is can't be known. So, and the impossibility is that within the dream of me, there seems to be an objectification going on of everything, what is seen, felt, heard, and so on and so on. And yeah, so nor Tim nor I have a clue what we're talking about or what this is.
Speak for yourself.
Okay, please forgive me.
Yeah, and then we can get into who's competitive. I know I have got much less clue than Nico. That makes me, he's not got much of a clue, but he's still got a bit of a clue, whereas I've got no clue at all.
Okay,
now the reason I say that is because self as a seeker can go, yeah, he seems to really not know. He not knows more than she not knows, and here he's somewhere in between in the not knowing. Not knowing isn't a thing, Not knowing isn't pointing. You can't point to not knowing. You can't point to the lack of anything. It's just the same as nothing. So I talk about nothing all the time. And people say, well, what are you talking about when you say nothing? I go, nothing. That's fucking helpful. No, it's not helpful. I know it's not. None of this is helpful.
Yeah.
So, or someone will say, you found nothing. And I went, It was very disappointing because, of course, when I found nothing, what did I find? Nothing. Shit. Now, if you say that's what you're looking for, I'll call you a liar. Because but what was the question?
What is anything at all?
Anything? Anything is what you think it is and what you believe it to be. So the thing is the name you have for it, and then along with the name. So you learned the name when you were 3. And then over time, you added more and more knowledge to that thing. So some things you know a lot about. You might even have a degree in it, in that thing. You studied that thing for 3 years. And so, but all knowledge is empty. That doesn't mean to say there's not knowledge, but it's about things. Knowledge is only about things. And it's useful relatively, because relative is the relationship between things. So relative knowledge is relatively useful, absolutely useless. So here we are talking about the absolute, which you can't speak about. It's beautiful. I mean, I love it. I don't know how all this shit happened that I end up speaking about this for years and years. It destroyed my career. It destroyed my marriage and my life, seemingly, which was devastating at the time. No idea what's going on. And yet, here I am, wishing it on all of you. This so-called collapse, this annihilation of what you call yourself. And the reason is loving. Most people don't believe me, but the reason it's loving is because life is exactly the same, but immeasurably lighter, easier, more peaceful, more spacious, more loving, without you and all your fucking petty concerns for yourself. You know, as well as I do, you are a pain in the ass to the human being you call yourself. So this feels like compassion. There is a concern that a lot of people, when I talk to them individually, they're very concerned that if they lose their sense of self, then they won't be able to function. That is a really common concern, especially if I talk one-to-one with people. They go, yeah, but I mean, I won't do anything, will I? I won't be able to do anything. I said, no, you won't. And that might, and things might be done a lot easier without you.
You can't lose what is already not there.
No, but self does really fear losing itself. It can be terrifying. The reason I know it can be terrifying, it was for me.
Yeah, just the fear that may appear of not be there anymore, which is already the case.
Mm-hmm.
So in a way, one could say there's nothing to fear, but yet fear may appear,
there is nothing to fear from nothing. And yet self is very afraid of nothing. I don't want to be nothing. Do you want to be a no one and a nobody? It's one of the greatest insults. You call your friends a nobody, and they're not going to like it. And self is always trying to maintain this sense of being somebody.
Though I love that flat line. I didn't like it before when somebody would say it, but now often it's flat line when nothing is appearing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's empty head.
Yeah. So when you ask what is everything, everything is empty.
Yeah.
And just to get even more paradoxical, another one of Tony's favorite phrases is nothing being everything. So the fullness, the empty fullness, another one of his favorite phrases. So in the emptiness, you would think, oh, well, that will be devastating because there'll just be emptiness. No, the fullness is much more full, which is just, what the hell? How can that be? And yet, when it is like that, then it's unquestionable. It just doesn't need to make sense at all.
Mm. And yet,
one of the things that seems to happen, I guess that happened for you, Nico, is that there's just no desire to try and make sense of life anymore.
No, that completely vanishes.
Yeah.
And yet what you did say before, in a way, it does make sense, because what seems to happen within a dream of me, it's, I guess, pretty obvious for most individuals, is that trying to suppress what I don't like and trying to hold on what I do like. So when that whole thing collapses, then pain can be even more intense in a way.
Oh, yeah. I know.
Because there's no suppressing anymore. So life is full on in that sense.
No. And that's both joy and sorrow, So you just think, okay, if enlightenment means anything, surely it means I'll get rid of most of the shit and just get the good stuff.
Yeah, because basically what the individual just imagine it to be is that I will arrive someday and I will get somewhere where there's only bliss or whatsoever, and I will be free of pain, free of sorrow, and whatever that may appear. And that is just not the case. this is already it as it is.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a story, but I've cried a lot more
Yeah, same here.
the last few years than I ever did in the previous 30.
Yeah. Because of that suppressing that seems to going on within the dream of me.
Yeah, well, I mean, in a very real way, self is like an artificial suit. It's like the emperor's new clothes, but as a suit of armor. So there isn't a suit of armor, but it's what self wears to protect itself from life, especially feelings that are painful. And that we have been conditioned, so you've been taught that sorrow means something's wrong. And sorrow doesn't mean, sadness is totally natural.
Yeah.
Life is inherently sad. And in suppressing the sadness, what self does is suppress the joy, because they're not really two. Because feeling is feeling, and there is a vulnerability without me, a nakedness, a rawness.
It's far more vulnerable in a way, one could say.
Yeah, and yet, of course, you don't feel, there's not a sense of vulnerability. So you could say that it's more like a nakedness, and self would feel vulnerable naked, and also, of course, self-conscious. But I'm going to give the biggest plus is the absence of self-consciousness. There you go. That's the carrot I'm dangling for you. Most of this is shit. There's no benefit for a human being at all. But the big benefit is not being self-aware and self-conscious. I don't know if you've done much therapy, but most of my therapy was about increasing self-awareness, enhancing self-awareness, which of course self feels really self-important in comparing its own level of self-awareness with the other poor bastards who have very little self-awareness. Yeah. And there's a great sense of superiority in that. But of course, with self-awareness comes greater self-consciousness. So I'm just extra protecting myself. I'm less vulnerable. I'm less open to how life appears. I'm always trying to be, I'm always separating myself. The whole notion of self-awareness and self-consciousness just gives you greater distance, because I feel safer then, because self is afraid of life. This raw, wild, free life just happening.
Yeah, and also the sense of, often for the individual, what seems to happen is that there's often a sense of not being worthy enough. And it's just then everyone is trying to deal with the symptoms of that, of not feeling worthy.
Yeah.
And nearly someone is addressing the roots, so to speak. What keeps the whole thing apparently going. There's a question as well. I try to... Let's see what's in the chat.
Yeah, go on.
Okay, sorry, Tim. Fear of absence of self can keep real track of what is happening and what it means. Well, for a start, nothing what is being shared here has a meaning in that sense. So it's very meaningless, this gathering. Yet what seems to happen is when it comes down to liberation, which is just an empty story, so it has no meaning whatsoever. Though what the individual or the so-called individual would like is that one day liberation would happen to me. I would love to be there when I die. That's basically what seems to happen often, which is a paradox in itself.
Yeah, we all have fantasies of being at our own funeral, don't we?
Yeah. Because
hearing, the complete arseholes that you never got on with saying wonderful things in your eulogy, and you're just going, and of course, how terrible if you were there and you couldn't actually argue your case. You lying bastard! You treated me like a piece of shit. But we would all like to be there when we die. but of course we won't be. And there is no death. So this whole idea that you will die, and so there's this ego death. Well, if there is an ego death, you won't be aware of it, because you won't be there, will you?
Yeah, there's nobody around to.
You won't be around to notice.
Good luck with that.
And it is like that. When this seemed to happen, I tell a tale. When this seemed to happen, the overwhelming feeling, as well as peace, there was a peace, but there was a disappointment. This is not what I was asking for.
Oh yeah, same here. It was a huge. We talked about this before.
I was asking for, well, at least a modicum of bliss. I've read a lot about bliss.
Somebody's asking, is this meeting about anything? That's
yes. No. Well, I don't know. You know, it depends whether you want to count everything as anything. I don't know. You decide. Do you want to count everything as anything? That's up to you. But it is about everything. This is about all there is. So,
thanks for nothing, Tim.
You're welcome. But all there is isn't something. I don't use the word oneness. I don't know if Nico uses it at all. Do you say oneness?
For the moment, it's hard to say. I can say for the moment, really.
Yeah. You don't say it much, though, do you?
I don't think so. For
no.
now. No.
I think I said it for a while, and then I thought, sounds like one big thing.
Yeah, it sounds. It makes it sound almost like something.
Well, it does. It is. Well, oneness is one. For me, I might as well speak about God. Oh, this is interesting. Well, only to me. Probably not to you. Go on. Sorry, Nico.
Okay. Somebody's saying, yeah, I have to fulfill my task, Tim. Somebody's writing, why did I stop listening to all the awareness and consciousness teachers? I can't stop listening to you guys. So, yeah, there's no reason for that. That's just what resonates with.
Who said that?
Mina, if I pronounce it correctly.
Mina, the reason you stop, because you've seen the light and that is a crock of shit.
And then, would you say the sense of being a self is like a phantom limb syndrome? Found it so when I couldn't do remembering activity, no internal agency seems to have come back, though maybe. It's hard to make something out of it. Would you say the sense of being a self is like a phantom? I would just say that I don't know what you were saying, but mostly I'm pretty short in answering, it seems. Sense of self is just something, there's no real self, obviously. It's an illusion, though there's a felt center within the body. So it's just something which is, as far as I'm concerned, is deeply embedded in the whole body. Out of that comes the whole dream of me, I would say.
Yeah, I'd say something similar.
That's going to be a nicer dynamic. Good cop, bad cop, maybe, because you do the talking and I do the very short answering.
I mean, some people talk about the sense of self as the sense of me-ness as just an idea, a belief, a thought. Oh, yeah. If it was just a thought, it wouldn't be such a bastard. I really, it's because it's so bodily felt. It's a somatic, corporeal sense of being inside the body. Which and the body so belonging to me. This sense of total apartness from everything else.
Yeah.
With moments that all souls have experienced, every human being has experienced this melting of into everything. And nearly everyone has had experiences, particularly in childhood, when self is not as concretely, solidly formed. So a lot of when I'm speaking about this is much more like being a child, an adult child. It's very childlike. But of course, you haven't lost any of your memories unless you get Alzheimer's. So all the memories, so you still have all the adult knowledge and you have all the adult thoughts, but there's the childlikeness that has been seemingly imprisoned in this armor plating of self, of keeping myself safe and keeping myself apart, can just evaporate. And if it evaporates, it's obvious it never was. That's why I usually talk about self as an illusion. But it's a totally convincing illusion. I mean, there aren't many human beings who don't have a total conviction in it's the core of reality. Everything is in relation to me. I'm the center. It's like being the sun. Being self is like being the sun, and everything else revolves around me.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you know, I am the light. I am the sun. I'm the only thing that really matters. I mean, self can't help but be self-centered. That's what self is a self-center, this illusory center. And actually life doesn't have any center at all. Sorry, Mina wanted to say something. Did she leave?
I have no idea.
I think she did.
Oh, she's, as far as I can see, still in.
Mina, did you want to say something? You had your hand up, didn't you?
You just can speak.
No, I was just gesturing. No, I didn't have a question. Thank you.
Okay. Ian, have you got a question?
I have no idea now, as usual.
No, it's been too long, hasn't it? And it's gone.
Well, it all churns around and then it just changes and I'm reminded of things and then I forget them.
I can only just hear you, Ian.
Is that better?
Not much.
Oh, wow. Ruined again. Just make my phone naked. Hang on.
Is that why you're not showing yourself because you're sitting naked?
No, my phone, Tim.
Oh.
This is a serious art. It requires precision. All I can do is like play energy goes.
Well, you know, I love it when you comment on my posts and you try and outdo me with your poetry.
Yeah, it is. I am a bit competitive with you. I go, that's quite.
Me too. Yeah. Don't worry. You can try and compete with me. I just, yeah. That'll increase the pleasure for me.
It is. It's like heat, isn't it? I've been getting that.
Yeah.
It gets all hot and it can get really bitchy, like just 10 minutes ago. Fucking cables built by monkeys. Everything's shit these days. And I'm full of just uncontrolled, like horrible, nasty little piece of.
Well, yeah. Well, there's nothing more therapeutic than a childish tantrum rant at an inanimate object. Try not to do it to other human beings because they get upset. But to the table, great.
It does go at other people occasionally. We had a family one, but that's kind of fair because we know each other, and it served its purpose. But usually it's like popping a bubble, like you just don't really want to get to that stage of, you're fucking doing this now. And it's like petrol on a fire, isn't it?
It can be.
And then you react. But it turns out it was quite safe in the end because it sorted out some problems. So, all right, really.
I can only just hear you, Ian. You're very quiet.
I said the family argument that I had actually it popped through that bubble.
Oh, yeah.
But then it turned out it was all right. It sorted things out, really. So, so we don't really need to be as afraid of it as some of us are or were.
No.
Like a big, scary monster, which is just a body, kind of. Big, scary monster thing. Like, whoa, don't poke the monster behind the sofa.
Yeah.
Or the school teacher, or your dad, or your mum, whatever. Monsters everywhere in the world. Putin, bombs, COVID. I won't go on with the list. That's what it consists of, I'm saying. That's my statement for today. And before it melts, I'll lock it in there.
Cheers, Ian. Kevin.
Yeah, I heard somebody once before ask if the illusory me is like the what is that called? The phantom limb. And I can't help but when I hear that, I can't help but to think that the idea is that it's a phantom limb for somebody.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's like a phantom limb.
It's like it's for most human beings, it seems to be the lived reality that I am in here and have control and free will.
Yeah, for most human beings, it is reality. For most human beings, if there wasn't me, then there would be no life. You know, I am fundamental for life to exist. I must exist for life to exist. For there to be life, there must be me. That's how fundamental it is for virtually everyone.
That's why it's been my experience also, Tim. Don't mention it to anybody.
No, I fell foul. I was quite evangelical for about a year. It was a big mistake. I upset a lot of people. I mean, nothing wrong with it, but you know, I thought I might keep a few friends.
Oh,
hello. Time's up.
time's up. Yeah.
Kat, have we got time for Kat? Does that mean time's up? The Zoom will stop.
Just checking because I'm limited on time.
Oh yeah, it is. I can see.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay, Nico. Hi, Nico. Hi, Tim.
Hey.
You don't. Hi. It's okay if you don't have time.
Well,
There is no time. It's all timeless.
Oh, there is no time, but you still need time.
I don't know how you feel, Tim. What I can do is just end this meeting. I can start another one. There's some more time to end it up.
No. Please don't start another one. If there's no
Oh, yeah,
time, Tim, I never get to your meetings, but I will try. Or Nico, either. I will try the next time.
Now Kathy's pleading with us, Nico. Please do it. She feels guilty. I'd love that.
No, it's a stupid question. Everything is stupid.
Of course it is.
But there are apparently 11 minutes, so you can ask that question.
All right, so really quick.
Ages. And by the way, Kathy,
I can't put
questions
my camera on because I'm indisposed.
Oh my goodness! Don't tell us that.
I do. I want to talk about the bromance. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, quickly.
Well,
Just
I loved
thoughts
him.
There's no, you lost him?
No, I loved him.
Oh, you loved him.
Yeah.
I thought you lost him.
And
Anyway,
I think Nico's sort of okay-ish.
Thanks for that.
You are so mean.
He's
Just
you
so
know,
mean.
He's all right.
It goes.
Okay, so the question real quick is, if
Yeah.
if there's nobody here, it's just happening. There's just appearance. There's no person here. It's happening.
Yeah, there's
And there's
already
an
no one.
appearance. There's an appearance of a person. There's an appearance of a tree outside. Blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
What about the thoughts? Because the thoughts become. People say that they just arise. They just happen.
Mm-hmm.
It's
But I'm
just an
not getting
appearance.
that.
Thoughts just appear to happen. There's nothing
Yeah, but
more,
they say-
nothing less than that.
They seem to be.
What do you think? What do you think?
Okay, listen. I see a bunny rabbit. As soon as I see the bunny rabbit, the thoughts arise.
Yeah, of course. Same for Nico. Same for Tim. Same for Judith.
Yeah, but the me is creating the memory of the bunny rabbit and what you liked. Is that the bunny that you know?
No.
Huh?
No. Me's doing fuck all. Me's never done anything.
It's already not there.
Ever.
I know it's not there, but
No. So if there is a sense of it's me remembering, then there's a sense
yeah,
it's me remembering. But there is just remembering. That and remembering will be just the same whether there's me or not.
Remembering is really
So the
just
thing
another
about
thought as well.
Yeah, the trouble
okay,
with me,
okay,
the
okay.
trouble with me is, Kathy, me thinks that it wouldn't happen without me. And you still have that sense of, well, I'm essential.
Yeah.
I'm essential for the memory. I'm essential for the thinking about the rabbit. None of it would happen without me. Well, it's all total bollocks. And I think that everything is already happening without you.
But you see the personal, but it does not feel impersonal. You feel the personal there.
And that's not
I
you.
feel personal.
So here's the thing.
But there's nothing right or
Yeah.
wrong with that as well.
The personal isn't yours either.
I know, okay.
So there's nothing personal about feeling it's personal.
There's nothing personal.
So what do you imagine for Nico and Tim, that there's nothing personal? What do you imagine?
Yeah, like when you saw like when you see something, if you
So
see
I see the bunny rabbit. What do you think, what would it be like for Tim?
it would be just yeah, like, well, without, like, I recognize it and it's got the tan spot, so that's the one that you fed, and oh, I love it, I want to hold it, all these thoughts come in that feel very personal.
Yeah, all of it. Memories of the rabbit I had when I was a boy. Memories.
It feels so personal.
The last time I saw a rabbit. Memories of think of Bugs Bunny. I could be, I don't know, but
even I want to run out and hold it. I want to go out and see if I can hold. Right, instantaneously. I'm gonna see if I can grab it. It seems so personal. Those feelings, those thoughts.
So this is the thing, Kathy. The personal is the personal. What you're calling the personal isn't yours any more than the impersonal is.
Yeah, I thought it would be different. Yeah, I guess so.
No, because you're imagining how it would be different. There can't be anything different. There is only as it is.
Yeah.
There is,
thank you.
There's no possibility of it being different, Kathy.
Yeah. I know. Now I'm trying to get it because it's trying to bring me.
No, you don't.
I won't get it. I can't get it. But yeah, it almost makes the feeling here like the me is strong and hangs on to its thoughts.
It's
Well, the thing is, what me is that what I call personal, which is especially is memories, personal memories.
Yeah.
They're my life, and if I can't let them go, but the thing is, there isn't anything to be let go of.
Yeah.
You know, all these wonderful spiritual ideas of surrender and acceptance. You've tried shitloads of that, haven't you?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's
a lot
not
of shit.
work.
Tried a lot of shit.
Well, yeah, exactly. There isn't anyone here who hasn't tried a lot of shit. Otherwise, they wouldn't be up here. This is the fucking end of the road.
So let's stop.
There's nowhere. All right, from here.
there's a rabbit at the end of the
Wherever you
road.
think you might go from here, forget it. there isn't anyone, and it is the end of the road. There isn't, but the thing is, the end of the road. There was never a road.
Yeah. Wow.
So the end of the road. The end of the road isn't the end of the road. It's the beginning of the road, the end of the road, and no fucking road.
No fucking road. Yeah.
No. You know, all this journey you've been on.
Yeah.
That you call your life. to get here. Well, there's I mean, it's a disappointment that you never.
It is.
That you didn't get here, and you know how hard you've tried. You know the efforts you've made. Don't be surprised if this does hit, and it might feel like being smashed in the face or worse. If this does hit, then you might have so much compassion for yourself and how hard you've tried that it was all for nothing. Literally.
Literally.
Literally. No, I mean it absolutely.
That's a good way to end this.
Thank you so much. And thanks for listening. Thanks so much for extending the time. It's great talking to you guys. Yeah.
Thank you.
And I just want to make the personal impersonal. Yeah. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Cheers. Bye.
So I guess this is it for at least this meeting. People who are interested in an upcoming meeting, like the one who is going to take place in Berlin in October, all info is on my and Tim's website. It's timcliss.com, right?
Timcliss this.
Oh, sorry. timclissthis.com. Is it? I have no clue.
Yeah, Timcliss this.
Tim, thank you as well.
Thanks. Lovely to see everyone. And I enjoyed that. Sorry I talked too much.
There's already no you, not two.